Hello. Shall we start?
So wait for a few minutes, maybe some others will join us.
Okay, fine. Okay, okay, we can start now. So please tell me whether my screen is visible to you. Hello, guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. So in our previous session, it was a long gap, I think so. So we have completed up to incompressible flows. Okay. So here we will start from compressible flows. So you all know what is incompressible flow and what is a compressible flow. So I will just give a brief introduction about this compressible and incompressible flow. So, so long back, even aerodynamic scientists they don't know shock will that we can travel or an aircraft can travel beyond the speed of sound or it can reach the speed of sound. Okay. So, but after some consideration about this compressible flows and so many problems encountered for this compressible flows, then only aerodynamics scientists and all they studied about this compressible flows, and they have discovered so many things, so many equations, so many different types of shock waves occurring over that in front of the body, and what are the properties are changing, and what are the aerodynamic properties affecting the body when we encounter this compressible flow come into picture. Okay. So here we have the definition for this incompressible and compressible flows. So incompressible flow, if the fluid density is constant in a flow field, then it is called incompressible flow. But if the fluid density is changing in a flow, then it is called compressible flow. That means rho is not equal to constant. In for incompressible flow, we will say this rho is equal to constant. If rho is equal to constant, then it is called incompressible flow. When rho is not equal to constant, it is called compressible flows, or we can say this in compressible flows as high speed flows, where the then here there's a property called compressibility. When how much amount of compressibility is amount of compression is happening over a body or over a fluid volume, that term is called compressibility. Okay. So here the definition for that is the compressibility is the fractional change in volume of the fluid element per unit change in pressure. Here we can see this from the diagram itself. So consider this is the body of having a volume of V. Compressive pressures are applied over this body, over the surface of the body, or over this volume, and we can see there is a change in volume occurred due to this pressure, that is V plus dV. Okay, this is a change in volume occurred due to the compressibility effect of this, or due to the compression. This amount of compression happened to this body is called the compressibility. Okay. So we have the formula for this. For isothermal process, this compressibility, the term is denoted by tau. So tau for isothermal, T we are denoting as, that is equal to minus 1 by V into dou V by dou P of T. This is for isothermal process. Suppose it is for isentropic process, means we will say tau S equal to minus 1 by V into rho V by dou V by dou rho. In terms of density, we can write like this: tau equal to 1 by rho d, rho divided by dp. Okay. So they may ask this compressibility formula. Sometimes they may ask in your exams and all. Okay. Just note down this three formulas. For isothermal process, the equation is this. You should not write this equation, or you should not tick this, mark this equation. You should not change that. Okay. For isentropic process means second equation, and for in terms of density means you should write like this. Okay. Just note down this. Noted, students. Guys, are you there? Hello.
Noted, sir.
Okay, fine. So before going into this compressible flow topics, we should know some relations, because normally in the incompressible flow we will consider this continuity equation, mass equations, momentum equation, energy equations. But for compressible flow, or for if a shock is formed at the tip of, or in front of the, what to say, any wing, or in any missile body means automatic, some other features like temperature, internal energy, enthalpy also comes into picture. So that's why we need to know some relations, thermodynamic relations, because the internal energy is also changing because of the shocks, and also the enthalpy, total temperature, everything will change accordingly. Okay, so we should know certain things also before getting into these different types of shocks and all, and the properties relating that. So we all know, we are considering the gas is gas here. So we know the gas is a perfect gas, we will consider it is a perfect gas. So the equation of states, from that we know PV equal to mRT, or we can say P equal to rho RT. And we know this for shocks or for compressible flows, we need to consider this internal energy and enthalpy. Since the gas is also a perfect gas, or so we know this constants also, it is calorically perfect. So we will say internal energy here. For internal energy we are denoting it as E. Okay, normally in thermodynamics we will consider it as a U, but here we are denoting it as E. You can consider as a U, or you can straight away you can see consider like E also, that depend upon you. Okay, here we are taking as E. So for a E equal to CV into T, and also H equal to CP into T, we will consider this mass equal to 1. So H equal to Cp into T, we know this R equal to, then gas constant R equal to Cp minus Cv, Cp minus Cv. Okay, then gamma equal to ratio of specific heats, gamma equal to Cp by Cv. So from this, Cp equal to gamma R divided by gamma minus 1, and Cv equal to R divided by gamma minus 1. You all know this formulas or this relations. Just note down these things also. And this from first law we know del q plus del w equal to dE, and also TdS equal to dE plus P into dV, and TdS equal to dH minus V into dP. Okay, See, just note this relations. Sometimes it may help for solving some sums and all. Okay, just note on these things. No need this and all. Just note this thing up to this. Finish? Shall I change? Guys, finished? Hello? Students?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So then next thing what we need to do is we need to remember these things also. Entropy that also comes into it is also a factor when considering this shock. Okay. Sometimes the entropy change in entropy is zero after the shock, or it may be less than or greater than zero. That we will see when we move on to the shock things. Okay. So do you guys wonder why we are considering this internal energy, enthalpy, these things for considering the compressible flows? That is for a shock. We all know the Mach number is considered because of the from the speed of sound only. If m is equal to 1, then the flow will be sonic. If m is less than 1, then the flow is subsonic. If m is greater than 1, that is Mach number is greater than 1, then it is called supersonic. So we will consider this supersonic thing when we consider this shock. Okay. So we all know if you are considering the vehicle means the vehicle is moving at a velocity greater than the speed of sound. Okay. So do you have any examples like how this internal energy and the enthalpy is related when we consider the speed of sound? Anyone, any idea? So anyone know what is microscopic and macroscopic approach? Microscopic approach and macroscopic approach. Microscopic and macroscopic. Hello.
Yes, sir. We don't know, I think.
You don't know. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We will be. I will be telling two things. Then you can differentiate this microscopic and macroscopic approach. So, have you seen chalk piece in your classroom and
Yes,
all?
sir.
How it look like? This is a simple example. Okay, we can differentiate that into, can split that in the simple way. Uh, Anyone, please explain what is the difference between a chalk powder and a chalk piece?
Sir, chalk paste is in solid form and chalk powder is in powder form.
Yes, it is a powder form. How a
Yeah.
chalk piece is formed, or we can disintegrate this chalk piece into a chalk powder, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay.
We break down the molecules of chalk into chalk powder.
Yes, molecules. Okay, correct. So that molecular part we will call that as microscopic approach. This chalk piece part we can call that as macroscopic approach. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, simply we can take a bucket of water. Okay, that bucket of water has some definite volume. That is a macroscopic approach. We have some definite volume with some property. This amount of water is there, but yeah, that water, it is also made up of some chemical, like molecular level, it is made up of atoms, molecules, like only it is made up of. Okay, so that and all we will consider as microscopic approach. Simply like that only. Even if we are boiling water, water means, because of the molecular collisions only, there will be a release of amount in the form of release of some energy in the form of temperature or some way. Okay, so that only we are sensing in the form of heat. Okay, we are sensing that we want, it is very hot, the water is very hot, we will say the water is very hot, because we sense that some energy is transferring. Okay, some energy is transferring, or maybe in the form of convection or conduction. Okay, that we know. If you touch the pan means, we will feel the conduction effects. So we know we are boiling the water, and we know the some energy is transferring in the form of heat from the water to the pan, or some object, where, or some volume of volume, and from that it is sensed by our finger when we touch that. Okay, so these things, when we generally we say it is heated, so it has some temperature. Maybe the temperature is increasing, we will say. Okay, it is very hot. That general form we will say, what the temperature is high, the pressure is high, that and all, it comes under macroscopic approach. Okay, but deep, when we look deeper, or when we look deeper, we know that because of the molecular collisions only, it releases some amount of energy. Okay, because when one molecule collide with another molecule, it will get that same energy, some energy, and it will conduct that energy to the neighboring molecule. Likewise, the totally the water molecules of water get heated, and or get excited to some level, and it releases that amount of energy, and the released amount of energy is called the heat. Okay, that heat is called the macroscopic approach. Molecular level is called microscopic approach. Okay, so now you guys understood what is microscopic and macroscopic. Any answers, any reply? Yes or no, guys? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Students? Hello, guys?
Yes, yes, sir.
Can you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Yes, I think so.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. One second, one second. So why I am telling this or including this energy part, this microscopic part and this macroscopic part means, see, somehow when something is happened, then there will be that is because of the molecular collisions only, okay, or molecular motions only. So here also we know that something is traveling, or see, shock may do you know where and all the shock will occur? Any idea? Do you guys know where this shocks and all, any practical applications where you have seen this shocks and all? Have you seen any detonation in TVs and all? Have you celebrated Diwali in your area? Hello. Okay, I will tell. See, normally in during the Diwali celebration, Diwali festival and all, people will burst crackers, right? So when this during this celebrations, when during the bursting of crackers and all, we will, if you are bursting the crackers in nearby means, you will hear the sound suddenly. Okay, at that time itself you will hear that sound. But if you are not celebrating, but some near what to say, uh, beyond 1 kilometer somebody is celebrating Diwali, they are bursting crackers, but you are just watching the scenario of how they are bursting crackers, like that means, you will see the light first, then you will hear the sound later. Have you experienced such thing?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Have you noticed why we are why such things are happening? Have you experienced that thing, and why we are hearing the sound later?
So light speed is more, no,
Yes,
sir?
that is the first thing. The light speed is more. Second thing, okay, the light speed is more. That is the main thing for why we are hearing that sound later. Okay. So have you noticed whether how the sound is traveling from that point to this point?
Sir, by molecular momentum.
Yes, because of molecular momentum or motions only. That when we burst crackers, there will be some molecular motion, and the molecular motion, some molecules will have a high energy, but the neighboring molecules won't have that energy. When these two molecules collide, there will be some energy transfer. That energy transfer will be in the form of, that is the internal energy. Okay, that is the energy transfer. With simultaneous energy transfers, we will hear the waves will be propagated from one point to the point where we are standing and hearing the voice. Okay. Okay, so likewise only the waves will be propagated. That waves is called sound waves. Okay, that is because of the molecular motions or collisions. Okay, so from molecular collisions, we know some energy will be transferred, so that the internal energy of that particular molecule will change. Okay, so one more thing is, because of the molecular collisions and all, some pressure changes, some heat change, some temperature is changing in that particular area. Okay, so automatically, if temperature increases, automatically enthalpy will be concentrated, okay, or will be focused, or enthalpy will also change. So that's why we are considering, for a compressible flow, there will be some when we are detonating a bomb, that is also creates some shock. If shock is there means, automatically we know after detonating, internal energy will be transferred from one place to another, one molecule to another, and somehow we will hear the voice also. So somehow if there is a shock, we know internal energy will be also there, and also enthalpy will be also there. Okay, so we need to consider these two terms for this compressible flows, because there is a shock. Okay, shock will be occurred in compressible flows. Okay, so we need to consider these two terms. Okay. Okay, see, note this entropy from this second law, that is ds equal to Clausius inequality theorem. This ds is greater than or equal to del q divided by t. Normally entropy is equal to the randomness of energy. We can say this or unavailability of energy. We can say this ds equal to del q reversible divided by t. Just note this formula. For entropy change for a perfectly calorically perfect gas, we know S2 minus S1 equal to Cp into ln T2 by T1 minus R into ln P2 by P1. The same way for S2 minus S1 equal to Cv ln T2 minus T2 by T1 plus R ln B2 by B1. Okay, and also this formula also, this also we will be using for deriving the normal shock equations and other things also. So just write this also. Okay, so P2 by P1 equal to rho 2 by rho 1 power gamma equal to T2 by T1 power gamma by gamma minus 1. Okay, just note these things.
Okay, sir. Over, sir.
Oh, okay. Then for inviscid steady inviscid adiabatic flow, the energy equation will be the energy equation is H naught equal to constant, that is enthalpy, total enthalpy is equal to constant. So we know this H equal to Cp into T. So therefore if you are considering H naught, we will say H naught equal to Cp into T naught. Okay, so for a calorically perfect gas, H naught equal to Cp into T naught. Then what is adiabatic flow?
There will be no mass or heat transfer, sir.
Okay, there is no mass or there is no heat transfer takes place in the adiabatic process. Okay, that means there is no heat addition or heat rejection
Okay.
in a flow. Okay, so now we can just visualize whether the shock formed will be a isentropic process or an adiabatic process.
Isentropic process.
Whether we are giving any amount of heat to the shock in order to get a shock to form. The shock is an adiabatic process. Okay, in an adiabatic process, the shock is forming because we are not giving any input as heat, or we are not getting any input as heat. Okay, so
while friction it will get no, sir.
No, normally frictions and all we won't consider here. Normally we will say the flow will be adiabatic only, because there will be some we will see it later and all, that only we will be discussing Okay, the shock will be an adiabatic only. Okay, done. See here, if the enthalpy is constant, the total enthalpy is constant, automatically this T naught will be also constant. Therefore, for a calorically perfect gas in an adiabatic flow, T naught will be equal to constant. Okay. So now we will see what is there is a what is the equation for the speed of sound. How we are mentioning this speed of sound and all. We know the speed of sound is 343 meter per second. Actually, 340.3, I think so. Right? Okay. Here we have two waves.
Yes, sir.
Okay. As I told that from that crackers and all, the waves are propagating. Sound waves are sound is traveling in the form of a propagation of waves. Okay, it is in the form of waves only. So here we have two things. So first, in this diagram, the wave is it is a stationary wave only. Uh, the flow is from this direction to from the 2 to 1. So we have here the parameters like pressure, temperature, and density here, and the wave it is traveling at a velocity of a. We can say it as if you are seeing from the back, the flow will be traveling from the left to right for this diagram. And for this, if you are sitting on the top of the wave, means automatically we know the properties like it is traveling, this wave is traveling at a velocity of a, at a velocity of a, that is the sound wave. And here in the session 1 we have the properties like temperature as T, pressure as P, and the density as rho, and also the velocity, we know the velocity is a. After the wave, because of this wave, we know this velocity is changing. It is changed as p plus dp, p plus dt, and rho plus d rho. Okay, and the velocity is as a plus d rho. If you are traveling with this wave, the properties will change like this. Okay, so here we have the definitions like sound waves are infinitely small pressure disturbance. The speed in which the sound propagated in a medium is called the speed of sound. So the speed in which the sound propagates in a medium is called speed of sound. So we have some derivations, the derivative part. No need of this derivative part for us now. So a square equal to dp by d rho. So a square equal to dp by d rho. From this p by rho power gamma equal to constant. We know this for an isentropic flow. P by rho power gamma equal to constant. So from this we can write like this: a equal to square root of gamma p by rho. We know p equal to rho rt. Since it is a perfect gas, we know this p equal to rho rt. So p by rho equal to rt. P by rho equal to rt. Therefore a equal to square root of gamma rt. This is the equation for the speed of sound. So normally from this equation itself we can easily say it is directly related to the temperature. So next we can see about this shock waves. Okay, so we know how the sound is traveling from one place to another in the form of a wave. Here also we have this shock waves. Suppose we can say like this one professor he explained this shock wave in a nice way. Like uh, suppose consider this like if you are traveling in a car with a windshield, like in the form of we don't have a transparent windshield, so that we have some windshield but we can't see in the front of what we are approaching. Okay, because what is moving in the front we don't know, but we are traveling in a we are moving in a car with the windshield. Okay, but that is not transparent. Think that what will happen? Any idea?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. We can see me if you are walking in your home, like by closing your eyes, what will happen? You want to move into your room, but you are closing your eyes, but we are just walking. What will happen? But there are so many obstacles in front of you. Don't know what is in front of you. Any idea? Any suggestions? Anything?
We move in circular manners.
Okay, don't consider that you are moving in a circular manner. You are just walking. Maybe in a circular manner. Maybe you can walk in a straight manner. You can walk here and there, but you don't know what is in front of you because you are closing your eyes. You are not supposed to open your eyes when you are till you enter your room.
I'm going to hit it.
Okay, we can have another one example. Suppose you are one of the participants participating in the Olympics. That is the Tokyo Olympics. What we have what is finished. Okay, but think that you are running in a marathon. Okay, so many other persons are also running. Think that all the participants who are running in that marathon race, all are closing their eyes and they are keep on running, and we kept a big wall in that in the runway. What will happen when you reach that runway? You are closing your eyes, yeah, but you are running.
The first,
Collision.
first person will get hit.
Yes, first person will get hit. Then
we will get to slow down also. We will get to know that the person is fell
how
down.
you know? Only the first. You can't say that all are running by catching the hands of the neighbor person.
One of
Oh.
the will collide.
One will be running faster, one will be running in a slower manner, one will be in the intermediate. Likewise, see, 50 people are running in a marathon means not everyone will run in the same what to say, same line. Okay, each one will be running in a separate distance only. So I am you don't know that I am keeping a wall in front of you at some distance, but you are running in the runway because you are closing your eyes. Okay, you
But he will inform most of them.
how he will inform? First he went he is running very fast and he get hitted over that wall. He just fall down. Okay, or he got stopped because of that wall. The next one is coming at the same speed only. He will be also get hitted. What will happen to the third one?
He will also stop, sir.
He will
Not
also get
waiting.
stopped. Okay, what will happen to the next one? Same thing will be happened. Okay, when the first 10 members they got hit by the wall, other 10% they are running back to that some distance from the first 10 members. They will stop from they also get stopped, but in front of that or back to the first 10 members, right? Yes, because they don't know what is happening in front of them, so they will be get stopped by the wall. Okay, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so think that the wall is the shock. Okay, think that the wall is shock, or we can say that from the first example what I said, we are traveling in a car with a windshield that is not transparent, so we don't know what is in front of us and what is we don't know what is in front of us. Okay, we maybe get hit only after hitting that hitting only we know, we will be supposed to know we have got hit. Okay, same way we are running in a marathon race and we got hit by a wall in front of us, but we don't know we got hit by that wall. Okay, am I right? We don't know what we
Yes.
got
Yes.
hit by that wall. Okay, because there is a shock. Think that we are don't think that we are a marathon race and all. Just think that in a flow, the flow, maybe some objects are moving in a flow. When it is in a supersonic flow, only when the flow reaches our reaches only we know it is a supersonic flow, because sound will be heard later, because the flow will be moving at a velocity greater than the speed of sound. So sound will be heard later only. Okay, or sound will reach our ear later, but the object moves faster. Okay, that is the perspective of supersonic flow. Okay, then so as I told earlier itself, because of there is a wall, we all get hit, so there will be some amount of compression because of the overpopulated of the marathon race members. Okay, participants over that wall or in front of that wall. Okay, because we all got hit by that wall. First members will get hit, second members will be second 10 members will be hit by the first 10 members, third 10 members will be hit by the second 10 members. So there is a compression because of that wall. Okay, so if there is a thin region in front of the flow, there will be a compression. So automatically compressibility comes into focus. So we all learn about this compressibility. Okay, so here guys, do you guys understand what I said up to this? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Now we can move on to this definition. So here a shock wave is a extremely thin region. So simply we can say like this. See here, consider a stream tube. Okay, or two streamlines. We can say in the form of if you're viewing like this, it will be in the form of a stream tube. So we can consider a stream tube. Maybe the stream tube is like this, or like this. It is, and we have a shock formed in front of us, a normal shock. Consider as a normal shock formed inside the stream tube. Okay, if we look like this, it will be in the form of a stream tube with a curved tube or some bended tube having a shock inside that. But if we zoom this alone, what will be it will look like this. Okay, it will first if you are zooming, it will look like this. It have a shock inside this. After further if we are zooming, the shock will be like the stream tube will be like this, and we have a shock formed like this. Okay, so the shock wave is a extremely thin region that is of order of 10 power minus 5 centimeter, across which the flow properties can change drastically. Because we all know, because of a shock there is a compression, and because of that there will be some changes after the shock. Okay, there will be some changes. That changes may be in the it will be high pressure or high temperature, because when before the shock there will be some low pressure only. Since the flow will be supersonic, automatically we know the pressure will be less only. But after the shock, due to the compression, after compression we all know, because of compression pressure increases. So when pressure increases, simultaneously temperature will also increase, so that the properties are changing drastically. Okay, so here they are saying that the flow across the shock is adiabatic, because we are not giving any amount of heat, or any amount of heat is not let from the body. So the flow across the shock is adiabatic. So next we can see this Mach wave definitions like Mach wave, Mach angle, Mach cone. See, problems are coming from this Mach angle also. Okay, they may ask, they may give some values from for this or some Mach number, and they ask us to find the Mach angle, or they may give some angle and they ask us to find the Mach number of the flow. So we need to use this formula for this Mach angle, and we can easily find this Mach number. Okay, or they may ask us to find the velocity of the flow. So by giving the values for uh, um, the Mach angle. Okay, so if we know the Mach angle also, we can easily substitute the values for this Mach angle and speed of sound value, and we can easily find the value for this velocity. Okay, velocity. So here we have three things. One is the Mach wave, second one is the Mach cone, and third one is the Mach angle. Also one more thing, we have the Mach line. Okay, the Mach line is the line at which the pressure distributions are concentrated. So this shock wave it is also the pressure disturbances only. Because of the pressure disturbance only, the thin layer is formed. That thin layer is called the shock wave. So the line at which the pressure distributions are concentrated is called the Mach line, and the Mach wave is a pressure wave traveling with the speed of sound caused by the slight change of pressure added to the compressible flow. So in a compressible flow, because of the slight change in pressure, the pressure wave traveling is called the Mach wave. The third one is the angle. So consider this is the body, or this is the aircraft which is traveling at supersonic speed, and these are the Mach waves which is propagating. The line which connects the all the propagated waves is called the Mach lines. The angle between this this line and the horizontal axis is called the Mach angle. We will denote this angle as mu. So we can write like this: sine mu equal to at divided by vt. Tt we can get cancelled. So a by v, we know v by a equal to m. So sine mu equal to 1 by m. So this is the angle formula for this Mach angle. So if you ask us to find the Mach angle, means we need to use this formula. So here we can see two types of diagrams. Okay, in that is a differentiation between the subsonic flow and the supersonic flow. In a subsonic flow, sound waves will travel faster and the body will be traveling slower only. But in a supersonic flow, object will move faster and the waves will be propagated later only. That's why we are in a subsonic flow, we will hear the voice of the aircraft or the sound of the aircraft first, and we will see the aircraft later. But in supersonic flow, we will see the aircraft first, we will hear the sound later only. Okay, okay. Then this thing we can see later also, but just I will say what is left running wave and what is right running wave. Suppose we are having a corner like this, means if a shock is formed in this point, means it will be deflected in this way. Suppose if the shock is formed like this and it is deflected in this way, means then it is called in this side, means it is called left running wave. Okay, we can sorry. Suppose we are having a body like this. Okay, we are having body like this, and this flow is supersonic flow is approaching this body, and it is hitting here. At this point it is hitting, means the flow will get hit here and it get deflected in this form. When we view from front, means we can see this in the top side, it is moving like this, and the bottom side it will expand like this. So this is called left running wave, and this is called right running wave. Okay, so this is called left running shock wave, and here it is called right running shock wave. Okay, then we have another one thing called zone of silence and zone of action. So here we have 4 diagrams. When the velocity or the Mach number is 0, we can say this I have told earlier itself, it is 0. We can there is no there is no motion of this object, so that the propagating wave will be like in this form only. If the flow is subsonic, automatically the object will move, so the propagation will be like this. If it is sonic, then the propagation will be in this form. If it is supersonic, the propagation will be later, and the object will move faster. So that everything, we have a Mach line here, so everything inside this Mach line is called the zone of action, and everything outside the Mach line is called the zone of silence. Okay, so everything inside the region of Mach 1 is called the zone of action, and everything outside the Mach 1 is called the zone of silence. Okay, so anyone have any idea what is a normal shock?
The shock wave is 90 degrees, sir.
Yes, the shock is formed at 90 degrees to the axis. Okay, if it is formed like this, or object axis, if it is formed like in the form of a 90-degree angle, means then it is called normal shock wave. So what and all types of shock you guys know? Normal shock, then what else we have?
Oblique shock, bow shock.
Yes. So whether normal shock will occur in a bow shock? So we can say like this. Suppose we have a body like this, and we have a bow shock in front of this, and this is the axis line of the body. So whether this bow shock have a normal shock inside that bow shock?
No, sir.
No. Any others?
What say? Can you repeat?
See, we have a streamline body like this, and in front of this body we have a bow shock. Whether this bow shock have normal shock, it will be. See, why we are saying this is a bow means it is the shape of the shock is in the form of a bow. That's why we are saying that shock as bow shock. Whether that shape has a normal shock also or not? See, it has a normal shock also near this region. Near this region, when we zoom this that region, we can see that throughout this axis line, the shock will be in the form of 90-degree angle, and it has a normal shock. When it move upstream, the shock is little bit converged, and it will form like a bow. Okay, same way downstream also. It will be converged, and it will be formed like a bow. Okay, so here we have two regions. This is consider this is a shock, and we have two regions. One is region 1, and one is region 2. Region 1 is upstream of the shock, and region 2 is downstream of the shock. And here we have In region 1, the parameters, flow parameters like Mach number is, we can consider that as M1, pressure we can consider that as P1, temperature we can consider that as T1, density as rho1, and velocity as u1. The same way in region 2 we can say assume like M2, P2, T2, rho2, and u2. Okay, why we are denoting or assuming these two parameters means because the flow is affected because of the shock. There will be properties changing drastically because of the shock. The thin region formed because thin region formed. Okay, so there will be properties like maybe the pressure will decrease or temperature will decrease, whatever happening. So after the shock, what is happening after the normal shock means, if a normal shock is there, after the shock the region 2, what and all will occur means Mach number is decreasing. We all know if a shock is there means automatically pressure is increasing because of the shock, because there is a lot of compressibility happening, compression effect is happening. So automatically the pressure will be increased. If the pressure is increasing, automatically the velocity will decrease. So obviously Mach number will decrease, and also this velocity will also decrease. We know the pressure is increasing. Pressure is increasing means automatically density and temperature will also increase. Okay, and also the entropy is increasing, but the total enthalpy it remains constant, and the total pressure decreases. The total pressure is decreasing, and the total enthalpy remains constant. Okay, so these are the parameters will happen after the shock. So guys, please note these parameters, because questions will be based upon this only. They will ask like this: after the shock what will happen, after the normal shock what will happen, whether the temperature is increasing or whether the temperature is decreasing, they will ask. So just note this thing.
Sir, can you explain about the pressure? Like, if there is a pressure increase, in the total pressure decreases.
Yeah, that and all we will see in our discussions. Okay, because we are deriving that things only. So if I explain everything means then it won't be interesting when we go on to that topics. So we know I have listed out the things what and all will change when we encounter a normal shock in front of us. So these things and all will change. So how it is changing, whether it is correct, that we can validate after that. Okay. This total enthalpy and all, we have this total enthalpy, it remains constant and all. We will derive it like one equation is there. After deriving that, we will know CPT T1 plus U square by U1 square by 2, that is equal to CPT2 plus U2 square by 2, that is equal to, there won't be CP into T0. We will denote like that. So automatically CP T0 will become constant, that is equal to constant. So enthalpy, total enthalpy remains constant after the shock. Okay, that like that we will conclude it. So that and all we will see later. Just note these things. Also we know we also know one thing, that in the previous session I have seen that enthalpy is constant, total enthalpy is constant since the flow is adiabatic. Okay. Here also we know this shock is adiabatic only, so automatically the total enthalpy will remain constant only. Okay. Finished?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This oblique shock we will see later. Okay. So this oblique shock and all after normal shock we will see this again. So we can see that at that okay. So we can say this normal shock. If the shock wave is formed which is normal to the upstream flow, then it is called the normal shock. Okay. So this thing I have told earlier. If a bow shock is formed also, there will be a normal shock in this region when we zoom it. And also we can see this normal shock inside the nozzle also. These are the practical examples where we can see this normal shock. Okay. So first if you are first for deriving the some equations regarding this normal shock equation. So for this normal shock we need some assumptions that need to be followed for deriving those things. So we all know the shock wave is the thin region which is formed, and when it is if the angle of the shock wave is 90 degree, we can say that shock as normal shock. And we all know the if the flow is steady, we can say the flow is steady and it is adiabatic, and assumption there is no viscous effect and there is no body forces in that flow. So there are three equations we can use for deriving this the normal shocks, and we can for studying this shocks. That is one is the mass equation or continuity equation. Second one is the momentum equation. Third one is the energy equation. Okay. So we know this body forces, viscous force. This all comes under this equations. Okay. So we can derive everything in based upon these three equations, and also two other equations are there that we will see. So if there is no body force, there is no viscous force, and we can say the flow is steady. Flow is steady means dou by dou t. That also we can say. So if these things, and we can consider this mass equation, momentum equation, this energy equation, these things will get simplified to some simple equations. Now we can see what how it is simplified. So we can say this for continuity equation, since the flow is steady, we can say like this: rho 1 u1 equal to rho 2 u2. And for momentum equation, if we are neglecting the body forces and all, we can straight away we can say p1 plus rho 1 u1 square equal to p2 plus rho 2 u2 square. The same way in energy equation also, if you are neglecting this body forces, then we can easily say p1 u1 plus rho 1 into e1 plus u1 square divided by 2 into u1 equal to p2 u2 plus rho 2 into e2 plus u2 square divided by 2 into u2. Now we can divide this equation by rho 1 u1. So by dividing this, we can get p1 by rho 1 plus e1 plus u1 square divided by 2 equal to p2 by rho 2 plus e2 plus u2 square divided by 2. You know h equal to U plus PV, or we can say like this, U plus P by rho, so that we can write like this, H1 plus this for P1 by rho 1 plus E1. This U is not velocity, we can that is an internal energy. Okay, so that for P1 by rho 1 plus E1, we can write like this H1, and P2 by rho 2 plus E2, we can write like H2. Okay, therefore H1 plus U1 square by 2 equal to H2 plus U2 square divided by 2. So we know we are considering the gas only, so the gas is a perfect gas, so that this energy equation, it will get in the form of you can write like this, that is, we know H equal to Cp into T, H equal to Cp into T, therefore H1 equal to Cp into T1 and H2 equal to Cp into T2. So we can write like this, Cp into T1 plus U1 square divided by 2 equal to Cp into T2 plus U2 square divided by 2. Okay, but we know Cp equal to gamma R divided by, from the initially we have seen this Cp equations, and I will move on to that. Cp equal to gamma R divided by gamma minus 1, Cp equal to gamma R divided by gamma minus 1, so that that equation becomes gamma R T1 divided by gamma minus 1, because Cp equal to gamma R divided by gamma minus 1. Okay, so therefore gamma R into T1 divided by gamma minus 1 plus U1 square divided by 2 equal to gamma R T2 divided by gamma minus 1 plus U2 square divided by 2. We know gamma RT equal to A square, so that we can write like this, A1 square divided by gamma minus 1 plus U1 square divided by 2 equal to A2 square divided by gamma minus 1 plus U2 square divided by 2. So these things are special forms of energy equations only. Okay, from that we are deriving these things. So we can say A1 divided by A1 square divided by gamma minus 1 plus U1 square divided by 2 equal to A2 square divided by gamma minus 1 plus U2 square divided by 2. Okay, suppose think that if the point 2 is stagnation point, that is, if it is a stagnation point, means this equation, this A will be equal to A0 and U2 will be, there is no velocity after the flow, there won't be any velocity, so that U will be become 0, therefore U2 will be equal to 0. Then this A will be, that is A0, therefore we can write like this, A2 A square divided by, and for A1 we can write like this, A1 and U1. Next we can neglect that also, or we can write like this, A square divided by gamma minus 1 plus U square divided by 2 equal to A0 square divided by gamma minus 1. Okay, so from this we can write like this also. If you are giving 1 here, and if you are giving considering this for region 1, we can write like this, A1 square divided by gamma minus 1 plus U1 square divided by 2. If you are considering that for region 2, we can write like this, A2 square divided by gamma minus 1 plus U2 square divided by 2, that is equal to A0 square divided by gamma minus 1, that is equal to constant. Okay, so if this A is a characteristic, we having this U equal to A star, that is a characteristic velocity, then if A equal to A star, then U equal to A star, then we can write like this, A square divided by gamma minus 1 plus U square divided by 2 equal to, from this equation, A star square divided by gamma minus 1 plus A star square divided by 2, not from this equation, sorry. So from this we can write like this, gamma plus 1, this left hand side it remains the same. For right hand side we can write like this: gamma plus 1 divided by 2 into gamma minus 1 into a star square. Okay, so suppose we have two sides, means that means side 1 in a streamline, we are considering this in a stream tube only. So this is a stream tube, this is the point 1. Stream tubes are simply we can say it is a streamline only. So this is the point 1, and if you are considering the point 2, means we can write like this: a1 square divided by gamma minus 1 plus u1 square divided by 2, that is equal to a2 square divided by gamma minus 1 plus u2 square divided by 2 equal to gamma plus 1 divided by 2 into gamma minus 1 into a star square equal to constant. Now we can relate this characteristic speed of sound and this normal stagnation speed of sound, that is a naught and a star, as gamma plus 1 divided by 2 into gamma minus 1 into a star square equal to a naught square divided by gamma minus 1, that is equal to constant. Also from this we can say, in order to find this total temperature and all, cpt plus u square divided by 2 equal to cp into t naught. That means if you are considering the second point is the stagnation point, that is the second region is stagnation, this terms it will become 0. Therefore cp t1 plus u1 square divided by 2 equal to cp into t naught plus 0. So cp t1 plus u1 square divided by 2 equal to cp t naught. Same way, if you are considering both sides, means we can write like this also: cp t1 plus u1 square divided by 2 equal to cp t2 plus u2 square divided by 2 equal to cp into t naught. Okay, so that is equal to constant. So the enthalpy remains constant across the shock. Okay, just note this this equation, these three equations, just note this. Guys, have you finished?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So we need some other formulas also. because these things, from these things also problems will come. Okay, so this stagnation properties, like total temperature to static temperature, the ratios of static temperatures and all, it is a functions of Mach number only. Okay, so we will see how this it is related to this Mach number only. We know this from this equation, Cp into, from this equation Cp into 2 T plus u1 u square divided by 2 equal to Cp into T naught. So from this equation we can write like this. We can take this T outside and cross multiply. We will get like T naught by T equal to 1 plus u square divided by 2 into Cpt. Okay, that is T naught by T equal to 1 plus u square divided by 2 into Cpt. Okay, we know Cp equal to gamma r divided by gamma minus 1, so that we can write like this: 2 into gamma r T divided by gamma minus 1. So from this we can write like this, that is equal to 1 plus this gamma rt equal to a square, so that 1 plus u square divided by 2a square divided by gamma minus 1. Okay, so that is equal to, we can write like this in a simple form, like 1 plus gamma minus 1 divided by 2 into u by a the whole square. We know v by a equal to m, so that we can write this form will be reduced to like this: T naught by T equal to 1 plus gamma minus 1 divided by 2 into m square. So automatically we know T naught by T, that is the static pressure, sorry, static temperature, the total temperature to the static temperature, T naught by T is a function of Mach number. Okay, we know the isentropic relations and all, that is from the, if we know the T naught by T, we can easily find the values for this P rho naught by rho and also P naught by P. Okay, so we know the value for T naught by T, that is equal to 1 plus gamma minus 1 divided by 2 into m square. So by substituting it, we will get the equation for P naught by P equal to 1 plus gamma minus 1 in 1 divided by 2 into m square whole power gamma by gamma minus 1, and rho naught by rho equal to 1 plus gamma minus 1 divided by 2 into m square whole power 1 divided by gamma minus 1. Okay, just note this equation also. Finished? Have you finished? Students, do you guys finished?
Finish, sir.
Okay. So, so from this equation, we all know these things are all functions of Mach number only. Okay. So suppose we are have given some Mach number means whether you can find the values for this temperature, the static to total to static temperature ratios, total to static pressure ratios, and total to static density ratios. Have you? Whether you can find, if you have given this values means whether you can find the, if they are giving some Mach number means whether you can find the pressure ratios. See here, suppose I am giving you values like m equal to 1. Please find the value for this total temperature to static temperature ratio. Think that the speed is sonic speed, that in a sonic speed the Mach number will be equal to 1, and I'm asking you to you guys to find the value for this T naught by T.
Sir, T naught by T is equals to 1.2.
1.2.
Oh, okay.
Others got the same answer? Others? Have you got the same answer? Hello, guys. Are you guys listening? Okay, fine. What about
Yes, sir.
what about P naught by P? T naught by T equal to 1.2, right? What about P naught by P, and what about rho naught by rho? P naught by P, and next one rho naught by rho. Find the values for these two things.
P naught by P is 1.89.
Equal to 12 point
No, sir.
what?
I got 1.89.
So what about others?
Is T naught by T is correct?
I am asking you, just giving some random values and asking you to find. If everyone got the same answer, means that is correct only. I don't have a calculator, so that I don't know the value for that. Just giving that value for if in your gate exam, suppose they may ask, they will give some T naught by T value, the ratio of these two values, and they ask us to find the Mach number, means you should find the Mach number by substituting those values in this formula. If they are giving the value for Mach number and they ask us to find this value, means you should use the same formula and substitute the value of Mach number, and you should find the value for this T naught and T. Okay. Understood? Hello, students?
Yes, sir.
Because they have asked some sums like that. Okay. Okay. So you know, this is normal calculation only. You can just substitute this. Just to remember this isentropic formula, and also remember this T naught by T formula. If you guys know that, means you can easily substitute the value and you can solve this sum. Okay. So now as I told earlier itself, if we are giving the value of Mach number is 1, then the condition will be sonic condition. At sonic condition, the velocity will be like characteristic velocity, or characteristic, the Mach number will be considered as characteristic Mach number. For in spite of for that the characteristic Mach number, we will give a term like m star. So the parameters of temperature, pressure and density also will be considered as star. Now we can denote that as T star, pressure P star, and density rho star. Okay. So that this equations like total two static temperature equations, also it will be like T naught by T star, P naught by P star, P naught by P star, same rho naught by rho star. By writing like this T, then we can write like this also, T naught, T star by T naught. From this equation it will become, because if you are substituting m equal to 1, this equation becomes 1 plus gamma minus 1 divided by 2. So that we can simplify that in the form like this, 1 plus gamma minus 1 divided by 2 into 1. Okay. So then by cross multiplication we will get gamma plus 1 divided by 2. So that T naught by T equal to gamma plus 1 divided by 2. So from that T by T naught equal to T by T naught equal to 2 divided by gamma plus 1. Okay. So from that, if you are giving that static temperature as characteristic temperature, then we will get T star by T naught equal to 2 divided by gamma plus 1. Same way, P star divided by P naught equal to 2 divided by gamma plus 1 into whole power gamma by gamma minus 1. In the same way, rho star divided by rho naught equal to 2 divided by gamma plus 1 whole power 1 divided by gamma minus 1. Okay. We all know we are considering this equations for gas. Suppose the gas what we are considering is air means, then the gamma will be equal to 1.4. Substitute the value of gamma here, sorry, 1.4 in the gamma, and find the values for T star by T naught, P star by P naught, rho star by rho naught. This is the answer for this. So substitute it, and whether you can just find that whether the answer is same or not.
Sir, T star by T node is correct.
Okay.
T star by P node I'm checking. Sir, P star by P node is also correct.
Okay. In the same way, rho star and rho naught will be also correct only, because these are the values, standard values only. After substituting the value of gamma here, we will get the value
1.4.
Okay. So see, in your sums, they have asked this question. They have given the value of they have given some gamma equal to 1.4, and they will for a sonic condition, what will be the value for this T star by T naught, they will ask. Okay, they have asked one question is have come from this thing. So just note this formulas and note this value also. Finished means just intimate me.
Yes, sir. Finished.
Okay, fine. So next thing what we need to do is we need to find equation for relation relating the Mach number and the characteristic Mach number. Okay. So for characteristic Mach number, we have we can write like this: m star equal to u by a star. Okay. So this equation, second equation, we have already seen this earlier. The special forms of energy equations. That from the special forms of energy equations, we know a square divided by gamma minus 1 plus u square divided by 2 equal to gamma plus 1 divided by 2 into gamma minus 1 into a star square. Okay, so by dividing this because we are deriving these equations only for finding the relation between this characteristic Mach number and Mach number. So for that purpose I am dividing this equation by u square. Okay, so we can write like this: a by u the whole square divided by gamma minus 1 plus, by dividing this equation by u square, this u square and u square will get cancelled, so that 1 by 2, that is equal to gamma plus 1 into divided by 2 into gamma minus 1 equal to a star square divided by a star divided by u the whole square. Okay, so we know u by a equal to m, that this equation becomes 1 by m square divided by gamma minus 1 plus 1 by 2 into equal to gamma plus 1 divided by 2 into gamma minus 1 into 1 by m the whole square. Okay, so after simplification we will get the equations like m square equal to 2 divided by gamma plus 1 into divided by m star square minus gamma minus 1. So from this m star equal to m star square equal to gamma plus 1 into m square divided by 2 plus gamma minus 1 into m square. No need to write all this equation, just write this two equation, note this two equation. Okay, just write this two equation. See students, I couldn't understand your what you are speaking. I don't know what you are murmuring there. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, just note these two equations. Okay.
Noted, sir.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Others, what about others? Noted these two equations. No need of all these three things. Just note this equation and this last equation. Okay. Finished. So what we can conclude from this characteristic Mach number and Mach number relation is, this characteristic Mach number is a function of Mach number, and if m equal to 1 means, if m is equal to 1, we are giving this m equal to 1, just substitute the value for m equal to 1 and gamma equal to 1.4 and find the answer for this characteristic Mach number. Substitute m equal to 1 and gamma equal to 1.4 in this equation. Just find the value for this characteristic Mach number.
Sir, it's 1.
It's 1.
M2 star, M star 2 is 1.
Okay. So if m equal to 1, that is the flow is 1, then the characteristic Mach number is also equal to 1. Okay. If m star is less than 1 means, sorry, m is less than 1 is 1 means m star will be less than 1. If m is greater than 1 means, m greater than 1 means, then m star will be greater than 1. If m is equal to infinity means, then m star will be equal to square root of gamma plus 1 divided by gamma minus 1. Just note this these all things. That means if the local Mach number m remains same when sorry, yeah, the characteristic Mach number remains same when the local Mach number will be equal to 1 or less than 1 or greater than 1. But when the local Mach number reaches infinity, then the characteristic Mach number will become a finite value. That is that is equal to, the formula will be equal to square root of gamma plus 1 divided by gamma minus 1. Gamma plus 1 divided by gamma minus 1. Okay. Finished? Guys, have you finished?
Last line, sir.
Okay. Okay. So up to this we have seen how the Mach number will change when the flow becomes sonic and all. Okay. After, if sonic condition is reached, what will be happen? How the properties are changing, what will be the total pressure, total temperature, total density values that we have seen. So in next, what we will be seeing means how, because we know after the shock the properties are changing drastically, so that there may be some decrease or increase in pressure, temperature, and all. Okay. So how these two things are connected, how it is related in the form of an equations, and how we will solve when we will be giving a initial Mach number, and what is the value for the final Mach number after the shock, and what will be the value of temperature after the shock when we have a initial condition, initial temperature condition, pressure condition, and density conditions, and what will be the total temperature and total pressure across the shock. That and all we will see after, we will see, okay, in our next session and all. Up to this, it is enough for today. So in our next session we will be seeing all those things what I have discussed now. Okay. So up to this, do you guys understood what we have seen up to this? Guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So that we can stop here.